We talk about drive leg stability. I've talked a lot about drive leg authentic versus unauthentic or inauthentic, whatever the heck you want to say, I don't know. And we've talked about forward momentum, and we've talked about acceleration, and we've done a little stuff on forward momentum and drive leg stability, but I want to provide now more context with these two individuals that I think do this move extremely well. deGrom's literally the best pitcher in the game. Take a lot from him, and just to kind of give you a brief introduction to where I am an absolute nerd, talking about the brain's signals to body, right? When you give the body a kind of task, I guess you would say. So what deGrom is doing as he lifts his leg is he's shooting down this slope, right? Check out all of my stuff on drivers versus accelerators. I think there's a conversation to be had about doing the opposite, which would be shooting back, depending on who you are and your body type. But what this does, in my opinion, is now the brain is signaling to the body, yo, we need to increase the frick out of our tempo because our initial move is now shooting forward, right? Like our tempo needs to be a lot more increased, right? So now the hand speed is increased, that front foot speed, that front foot tempo is increased. We also see the distance traveled with that hand is decreased from where he was at. I'm not saying that's the exact reason, but we see it, right? So same with Singer, is as soon as he disconnects, moving forward, right? And he's already like a very fast twitchy guy, like, optimizes his hand path, not a whole lot of checkpoints to get to. Now, this is where I want to spend the majority of the time in talking about the actual showcase of stability in the drive leg when they do this, right? Because it's not just lift, shoot forward, and then the leg shoots forward, right? That would be a breakdown, in my opinion, of kinetic sequencing, right? You're not going to be able to grasp everything that we've put into the ground up through the chain and out through the fingertips if the drive leg cracks way earlier, right? If this thing shoots way early in relation to the hand, then we're missing out on pretty substantial amount of force, of energy. But both of these guys not only do a really good job of the forward momentum, right, and controlling the center of their body, but watch their drive leg and the stability that they still show, even though they're moving forward, right? So obviously deGrom, his head is kind of more center or in front, whereas Singer's more in the center, but forward momentum nonetheless. Now watch the knee to knee separation. I'm not saying that that's like a huge thing that you like have to do, like when you're watching your film, like, well, how much knee to knee separation I have. But I think it does, especially from this angle, it does provide pretty good context on the amount of single leg stability that both of these guys have, right? Now, as soon as they were to come down from this leg lift, right? When we come down from peak leg lift, we know that we have a substantial amount of force to then stabilize with literally our foot and our drive leg. That's why, I would encourage you to check out my stuff on why we want to stabilize in our glutes, because that's literally the reason in regards to how much incoming energy transfer that we have to stabilize, right? So, boom. Even though it's subtle, there's a slight moment in which deGrom's single leg goes, boom, we got it, hold, now let's roll, now let's go with the hand. Same with Singer, boom, see that kind of that holding right there factor? It's an authentic move, and I'll tell you why, because a lot of guys will try to force that move and go ankle inversion, right? So that ankle will like roll that way. But in reality, that's not it. You want eversion of the ankle giving you direction forward, but you want drive leg stability. Now, so we have them both in relatively the same position. We see a good amount of knee to knee separation, good ground connection. Again, the ankle stability is there, foot strength is there, right? And now both of these guys do a great job of hand comes up when the hip is going to internally rotate. Let's check it out. All right. I like Singer's arm action, man. He leads kind of in that elbow. I like that right there, that pulling sensation. Boom. So both of these guys, now when they anchor into the ground, I call it anchor point. I've been getting a lot of questions on that. I call front foot strike anchor point because it just makes sense. Like, boom, we're anchored, okay? So we're anchored. Now, Singer, safe to say, less stride than deGrom. deGrom up there with like a glass now stride, right? So now what we have is both of these dudes with that forward move. How much more energy do they have now into that anchor point, into front foot strike, because of them getting their body going, right? Getting that acceleration. So much more. So now the goal, right? This is where it gets tough because we know that the hips need to rotate on time. If the hips don't rotate on time, then we're setting ourselves up for a freaking disaster in terms of that single leg stability and bracing and blocking that energy, because it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of force to block. We need to make sure that we're in the right position to do that effectively, and we see that both of them are. Boom. 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 Right? So proper sequencing, instilling forward move, increasing acceleration towards our desired target, no wasted movement, optimizing energy, stabilizing forces, all of that good, man. And then look where we're finishing, right? We're finishing, the trail leg stays long because it's dispersed all of its energy, all of that force into the front. That transfer is fantastic because we know we've stabilized here, right? Trunk flexion, late launch, shoulder extension, right? Not pulling off because we're late, but we're forward because we're on time, right? Hopefully that makes sense. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I always do this when I do breakdowns. I'm like, hey, I'm going to talk about one thing, and then, whoa, I just spent 10 minutes talking about 9 different things. Idiot. Cool, guys. Well, I hope you'd enjoyed this. That was a cool thing right there. And because I know I did. But let me know what you think. I'm actually thinking about looking at this kind of dynamic a little bit more, this whole knee to knee separation thing. So I think that's pretty